Hello everybody. If you want to read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short story 324, The Mysterious Lighthouse, Upper Intermediate. On the rugged coastline of Cornwall, there stood a lighthouse that had guided ships to safety for over a century. It was known as the Beacon of Hope. The lighthouse was perched on a high cliff overlooking the tumultuous sea below. The waves crashed against the rocks with a relentless fury, and the wind howled through the night. But the lighthouse stood firm, its light cutting through the darkness. Lucy Thompson had always been fascinated by the lighthouse. As a child, she had spent many summers visiting her grandparents, who lived in a small cottage near the cliff. Her grandfather, a retired sailor, would tell her stories about the lighthouse and the brave men who had kept its light burning. Years passed and Lucy grew up. She moved to London for university and started working as a journalist for a major newspaper. Life in the city was exciting, but she often found herself longing for the peace and beauty of Cornwall. One summer, Lucy decided to take a break from the hustle and bustle of the city and visit her grandparents. When she arrived, she found the old cottage just as she remembered it. Her grandparents were thrilled to see her, and they spent the evening catching up on all the news. The next morning, Lucy decided to visit the lighthouse. It had been years since she last saw it, and she felt a deep connection to the place. She made her way down the familiar path, the salty breeze bringing back a flood of childhood memories. As she approached the lighthouse, she noticed something strange. The door, which was always locked, was slightly ajar. Curiosity got the better of her, and she pushed the door open. Inside, the air was musty and filled with the scent of seaweed. The walls were lined with old photographs and nautical maps. Lucy climbed the narrow staircase that spiraled up to the top of the lighthouse. When she reached the top, she was greeted by a breathtaking view of the sea. The light mechanism, once a marvel of engineering, now stood silent and covered in dust. She was about to leave when she noticed an old leather-bound journal lying on the table. The cover was worn and the pages were yellowed with age. Intrigued, she opened the journal and began to read. The journal belonged to a man named William Harris, the last keeper of the lighthouse. His entries described the daily routines of maintaining the light and the many storms he had weathered. But as Lucy read on, she discovered a series of mysterious events that had occurred in the final months of William's tenure. According to the journal, strange lights had been seen in the sky, and ships had vanished without trace. William wrote about hearing voices on the wind and seeing ghostly figures on the cliffs. He believed the lighthouse was haunted, but he never found any proof. Lucy was captivated by the journal. She decided to investigate the mystery further. She spent the next few days talking to the locals and researching old newspaper articles. She discovered that several ships had indeed disappeared under mysterious circumstances, and there were many reports of strange lights in the sky. Determined to uncover the truth, Lucy returned to the lighthouse one evening. She brought a flashlight and a camera, hoping to capture any evidence of the supernatural. As the sun set and darkness enveloped the coastline, she waited. Hours passed, and just as she was about to give up, she saw it, a faint light in the sky, moving erratically. Lucy's heart raced as she snapped photos and recorded the phenomenon. The light grew brighter, and then suddenly vanished. Feeling both excited and uneasy, Lucy descended the staircase and left the lighthouse. She couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. As she walked back to the cottage, she heard a whisper on the wind. It was faint, but she could make out the words, "Thank you." Lucy never solved the mystery of the lighthouse, but her experience left a profound impact on her. She returned to London with a renewed sense of wonder and curiosity. The beacon of hope had given her a story she would never forget. Vocabulary notes: rugged, meaning having a rough, uneven surface or being tough and determined. Example: on the rugged coastline of Cornwall, there stood a lighthouse. Similar words: rough, uneven, craggy. Tumultuous, meaning making a loud, confused noise. Example: the lighthouse was perched on a high cliff overlooking the tumultuous sea below. Similar words: turbulent, chaotic, stormy. Fascinated, meaning having intense interest or attraction. Example: Lucy Thomas had always been fascinated by the lighthouse. Similar words: captivated, intrigued, enchanted. Relentless, meaning oppressively constant. Example: the waves crashed against the rocks with a relentless fury. Similar words: unyielding, persistent, unremitting. Marvel, meaning be filled with wonder or astonishment. Example: the light mechanism, once a marvel of engineering, now stood silent and covered in dust. Similar words: wonder, spectacle, miracle. Intrigued, meaning arouse the curiosity or interest of. Example: intrigued, she opened the journal and began to read. Similar words: interested, curious, fascinated. Spiraled, meaning moving in a spiral course. Example: Lucy climbed the narrow staircase that spiraled up to the top of the lighthouse. Similar words: coiled, twisted, wound. Breathtaking, meaning astonishing or awe-inspiring in quality. Example: when she reached the top, she was greeted by a breathtaking view of the sea. Similar words: stunning, spectacular, magnificent. Tenure, meaning the period or term of holding something, such as a position or office. Example: mysterious events had occurred in the final months of William's tenure. Similar words: term, period, stint. Vanished, meaning disappear suddenly and completely. Example: according to the journal, strange lights had been seen in the sky and ships had vanished without a trace. Similar words: disappeared, evaporated, gone. Story written by Copilot AI and Steve UK. Image created by Designer AI. To read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Hello, this is Steve. If you enjoyed the story, please would you take the time to leave a meaningful comment and click on the like icon. If you want to know when the next story has been uploaded, please click on the notify bell icon to be notified. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and tell your English learning friends so they can benefit too. Thank you.